Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and in this video, I will be addressing everyone's biggest fear about the latest and absolutely crazy twist in the One Piece story. As we know from back in chapter 1043, Monkey D. Luffy died in his fight against Kaido, and he was then reborn as the legendary Joy Boy, the mythical historical figure from the Void Century who was prophesized to one day return and usher in a new dawn. But what happens if this newly reborn Luffy isn't the same Monkey D. Luffy that we've grown to love over these 1000 plus chapters? What if the return of Joy Boy and Luffy's Devil Fruit Awakening are more than just a cool power-up? What if they change Luffy forever and not necessarily for the better? That is what I will be talking about in this video, so let's get into it. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy our One Piece content and you want to see more in the future, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free way of directly supporting the channel, and it actually helps us out a lot. Finally, this video will contain One Piece manga spoilers, including chapter 1044 spoilers. This is, at the end of the day, a speculative video, but I still have to use all the information that we have available so far, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Now, we've all been hyped about this massive new Luffy transformation, and it goes without saying that in some ways, Luffy has just changed forever. He is going to be stronger than ever before, and that is certainly going to be amazing to see. But we have to consider the possibility that this new, stronger Luffy, this resurrected Luffy who was brought about the return of Joy Boy, may no longer be the same Luffy we know. The most recent events in the story have revealed that Luffy's Devil Fruit, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, is not what it appeared to be. The Gomu Gomu no Mi is actually a mythical Zoan Devil Fruit called the Hito Hito no Mi, or Human Fruit, mythical model Nika. Not only that, but the Gorosei are aware of this legendary fruit. They consider it to be extremely dangerous, a direct threat to their power, and they have been trying to get their hands on it for a very long time. They almost succeeded in capturing it, but then Shanks took it, Luffy ate it, and all of their plans fell through. In fact, it is said that Zoan Devil Fruits have a mind of their own, and it is as if the legendary Nika Devil Fruit has been consciously running away from the Gorosei. This is, of course, a massive revelation, because the One Piece fandom has been speculating for a very long time that Devil Fruits may be alive. Each Devil Fruit may have its own will, maybe even its own consciousness, and this will and consciousness may belong to a previous user or users of that specific Devil Fruit. After all, if the Devil Fruits themselves can be reincarnated after their user dies, who's to say that some part of the user, like their will or consciousness, cannot also be reincarnated along with the fruit? Something like this has been hinted at for a very long time. After Sabo consumes Ace's former Devil Fruit, the Mera Mera no Mi, it is implied that he inherited more than just Ace's power. There seems to be something of Ace's still within the fruit, and Sabo has inherited that as well. We don't know what exactly this something is. Is it Ace's spiritual presence, Ace's will, Ace's personality, and so on? But there does seem to be something there. Then we have the example of inanimate objects such as a gun or a sword eating devil fruits. Now, obviously when a human or other sentient creature eats a devil fruit, they will continue to function as sentient beings with their own personality because that's how they were before eating the fruit. But since most inanimate objects don't have a personality, a will, or an essence, certain special swords accepted, then the fact that these inanimate object devil fruits are able to function as sentient living beings means that the ability to function as a sentient being comes from the devil fruits themselves. There is some sort of sentience, some sort of will or presence within devil fruits that allows even inanimate objects to become sentient upon consuming a devil fruit. To be fair, all known examples of inanimate objects consuming devil fruits come from Zoan Devil Fruits, but now that we know that Luffy's Devil Fruit is actually a mythical Zoan, the argument still stands. Devil Fruits, and especially Zoan Devil Fruits, have a will or presence of their own. And while this presence may be dormant most of the time, that is clearly no longer the case for Luffy. With the awakening of his Devil Fruit, something else has awoken inside of him. a separate essence that Zunesha straight up refers to as Joy Boy himself. So what is this essence exactly, and how will it affect Luffy? One possible scenario is a very controversial one, and that is the possibility that Luffy himself is the literal reincarnation of Joy Boy, a historical figure who lived during the Void Century. This means that Joy Boy isn't necessarily inside the Devil Fruit, he is actually inside of Luffy, but the Devil Fruit somehow triggered his awakening. Perhaps this Nika Devil Fruit with a will of its own has been searching for the reincarnation of its former user Joy Boy, and it eventually found that reincarnation in Monkey D. Luffy. Now, this possibility has been widely criticized by many members of the community because they believe that reincarnation is just a cheap literary trope and it constitutes bad writing. If Luffy is a reincarnation, then he won't be his own unique person with his own unique will and destiny, and that cheapens his entire character arc. While I don't necessarily want Luffy to be a literal reincarnation of Joy Boy, I have to say that people criticizing this possibility don't seem to have a proper understanding of how reincarnation works, especially in Buddhism. And of course, Buddhism has been a huge influence on Oda, and it has been referenced many times in the story. I don't want to get too deep into Buddhist beliefs in this video, but it is important to stress that for people who believe in reincarnation, like Buddhists, Hindus, and others, reincarnation is not just a cheap trope. It is a widely accepted reality, something that just is and something that goes without saying. Just as you might accept that all people who live will eventually die, someone who believes in reincarnation accepts that all people who one day die will also be reincarnated. There is a lot more there, including the concepts of karma, samsara, nirvana, and so on, but the important point is this. The way that reincarnation is understood in Japan is not the way that it is understood in the West. It is not just a lazy literary trope. It is far deeper, far more complex, and far more culturally and spiritually rooted. Okay, now having said that, what happens if Luffy really is a reincarnation of Joy Boy and his awakening suddenly triggers his memories of that previous life? Presumably, Luffy would suddenly become aware of everything that the original Joy Boy was aware of. All of his life experiences would suddenly also become Luffy's life experiences. Not only would this potentially change Luffy as a person, but it would also fundamentally change the story for the worse. I mean, think about it. If Luffy remembered his previous life as Joy Boy, he would suddenly gain knowledge about the Void Century, he would suddenly know everything about Laugh Tale and One Piece, and all the mysteries of the world would be solved in an instant. In the past, Luffy outright refused to be told the secrets of the world because he wanted to unlock those secrets himself during his journey to become the Pirate King. And this is why I don't think that Luffy will turn out to be the literal reincarnation of Joy Boy. It's not that the concept of reincarnation itself is bad writing, it's just that in this case, it would go against so much that Oda has already established over the course of the story. It would be one thing if Luffy was the reincarnation of Joy Boy, but this knowledge remained dormant at least until the end of the story. But now that Joy Boy has awakened right here in Wano, it just doesn't make sense for Luffy to become one with Joy Boy at this time. I mean, Luffy would literally become a walking spoiler for the ending of One Piece. But if it's not Luffy himself who is Joy Boy, then Joy Boy's awakening is likely directly related to the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or rather the Nika Nika no Mi. In this scenario, Joy Boy has returned because some part of him, his will or his essence or something, had been sealed away inside the Devil Fruit that we know as the Gomu Gomu no Mi. But Joy Boy could not be reborn until the fruit was fully awakened, and because it hadn't awakened in 800 years, Joy Boy had not been seen since the Void Century. However, now that Joy Boy has awakened, what does this mean exactly? If his will or essence was inside the fruit, and so it's not one and the same with Luffy's essence, that means that our Luffy will remain the same person, but it also means that there will be an internal conflict between Luffy and Joy Boy within Luffy's body. Now, this is a trope that has been used in just about any long-running shonen I can think of, and it can result in some really interesting character drama as our hero struggles to come to terms with a secondary personality inside of him. This internal conflict could result in Joy Boy outright possessing Luffy's body, or in Luffy losing control of his powers and going berserk. In that sense, rather than Luffy eating the Devil Fruit could actually be eating him as it overtakes his personality and consumes him from the inside. That would make for an interesting character arc as Luffy struggles to regain control of his body and his powers. And honestly, it would kind of make sense for something like this to happen. From everything we know so far, Luffy's new powers are absolutely incredible. And if there is not some sort of serious drawback to using them, they will be absolutely broken. I mean, Luffy could theoretically just breeze through the rest of the story on easy mode and absolutely wreck every obstacle that stands in his way with his new godly power. But if using this power comes at the price of temporarily being possessed by another entity and or losing control of yourself and going berserk, then Luffy will have to struggle long and hard in order to fully master his new power. And that means that he won't be able to just speedrun Elbaf and Laugh-Tale. He still has a long way to go, and the villains, including Blackbeard, the Admirals, and Emu, still have a chance of defeating him. I mean, as much as any villain has a chance of defeating a shonen protagonist. So, I predict that using his new godly powers will come at a great cost to Luffy. This cost may come in the form of losing control and going berserk, or maybe even being outright possessed by Joy Boy, whose will or essence has been residing within the Devil Fruit formerly known as the Gomu Gomu no Mi. So Luffy will need to work harder than ever before to master this new power without losing control. And he will have to come to terms with an alien will living inside of him, the will of Joy Boy. And speaking of wills, I feel like a lot of people talk about inherited will in One Piece, but they never bother actually explaining what this means. Often when they talk about it, it feels like they're just talking about an idea, like the idea of freedom. So it's like Joy Boy believed in freedom, and now Luffy believes in freedom, so when they say that Luffy inherited Joy Boy's will, it's almost like he inherited his ideology. But clearly there is more going on here than just a shared ideology or shared ideas. Chapter 143 proves this. Zunesha did not say that Luffy has the same ideas about freedom as Joy Boy. No, Zunesha said that Joy Boy has literally returned, so there is more going on here than just sharing the same great ideas about freedom. All in all, regardless of what kind of internal conflict he faces, Luffy will eventually succeed because he is our protagonist. And because we love him as a character and we love all the development that he has gone through, I am sure that the negative changes that occur as a result of this new transformation will be temporary. Knowing what we know so far, it's hard to imagine a scenario where some sort of internal conflict doesn't take place. Without a conflict of this kind, Luffy just becomes overpowered to the point that his strength is on par with a god without any serious drawbacks. And it is still too early in the story for something like that to happen. And yes, I know saying it's too early when we're over 1,000 chapters into the story seems pretty silly, but when you look at the narrative structure of One Piece, we still have a long way to go before everything is wrapped up and the story ends. There are still so many mysteries to resolve and so many adventures to be had. There is still Elbaf and Laugh-Tale and the world government and Blackbeard and Shanks and Vegapunk and the ancient weapons and so on. So, I believe that Luffy's greatest weapon, his Devil Fruit, may also become his greatest challenge in the coming chapters as he struggles to control and come to terms with his new power. He will have to resist potential possession from Joy Boy through the Devil Fruit, and he will have to ensure that the insane power of Sun God Nika doesn't overwhelm him and consume him from the inside. Luffy will almost certainly triumph in the end, but as is always the case with One Piece, it's all about the journey, not the destination. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more One Piece content here on the channel, leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but very important way of directly supporting the channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our Anime Uproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Kyle Salisbury. This man is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Alpha Sigma, Ingrata, Aljatal, Pate Hefa, the Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, the Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, Spidey Leftanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Big Buddhist, and Jeremy Cummings. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Jessica Rabbit, Jeremy Phillips, and Olivania. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos, along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.